Hey everyone, I'm Mason Vale, 29, a product consultant in Portland who grew up in Ventura, and I keep a steel caliper on my keychain to remind myself I measure my own life. In March, I sit at Wilcox and Mercer while a tired attorney lifts a page. To our son Tyler, the house, the vehicles, and the remaining savings, $685,000. He clears his throat. To Mason, our best wishes. Ryan, no, Tyler, smiles at the table's reflection. I stand, say, "Thank you for your time," and walk out before my face betrays me. That night, my phone pings. Worth and Blaine, PC. Subject line using my full legal name I never give anyone. It feels like a door unlatching in a dark hallway. Do you call this loyalty or betrayal? Comment your verdict. I'm adopted at 2. When Tyler's born 3 years later, the fridge fills with his photos. He gets the bigger room and the louder birthdays. My parents, Elise and Harold, call me special, but money skips me. New kitchen, his private coach, zero for my tuition. I leave early, work 2 jobs, build a small consultancy that grows because I refuse to wait for permission. When their health slides last year, I book flights, manage forms, argue with insurers. Tyler posts bedside selfies with tidy captions. Now that one sentence, best wishes, rings like gravel in my teeth, and the email with my hidden middle name won't stop glowing at the top of the screen. I'm not sleeping. In the morning, I'm replying to New York and asking why they know me that well. The reply from Worth and Blaine comes faster than I expect, 9 minutes after I press send. A woman named Diane Porter asks me to call her directly. No intermediaries. Her number is a Manhattan line, crisp and corporate, and when I finally dial, her voice is calm but urgent. Mason Vale? She says, pronouncing the middle name I almost never use. Yes. Who are you? My name is Diane. I represented George and Ava Lennox, your biological parents. They passed away in a plane accident 2 weeks ago. You are their only heir. The room seems to tilt. I grip the caliper on my keychain until the edges bite my palm. I manage, there has to be a mistake. There isn't, she replies. They left you their estate, properties, trusts, patents, investments. It totals in the tens of millions. They also left letters for you. I stare at the wall, my own breath echoing in my ears. A fortune from people I've never met, while the ones who raised me couldn't even cover a semester's books. The next week, I fly east. New York is gray and damp, but the brownstone they owned feels like something out of a film. Wrought iron, tall windows, polished brass plate with their name. Inside, the estate manager lays out boxes, deeds, bank binders, handwritten letters bound with ribbon. I spend 3 nights opening envelopes, tracing Ava's looping script. Every birthday I never spent with her, she wrote me a letter anyway. She says she loved me, missed me, regretted the silence. By the 3rd night, I can't stop the tears, quiet and hot, falling onto paper that smells faintly of cedar. I keep it hidden. Tyler doesn't know. Elise and Harold's friends don't know. I tell myself secrecy is safety. But even as I sign papers to set up a foundation in George and Ava's name, I feel the tremor of inevitability. That sooner or later, someone from my old life will come knocking. And when that knock comes, it won't be gentle. It happens 6 months later. A buzzer rattles through the brownstone intercom, late evening when the city hum is tapering into horns and rain. I check the monitor, and there he is, Tyler. Hoodie pulled tight, duffel at his feet, shifting like a man with nowhere left to stand. When I open the gate just enough for him to see me, he stammers, "Mason? You live here." His voice cracks under forced bravado. I don't answer. I let silence do the work. He rushes to fill it. Things haven't been great. Bad crypto play. Had to sell the house. I'm drowning. Just thought maybe. Maybe what? I fold my arms. Maybe we could talk. Crash here a few weeks. Till I get back on my feet, I study him. The expensive sneakers scuffed thin, the once manicured haircut grown wild. He looks like a man wearing the ashes of old privilege. Yeah. You didn't mean what you said at the will, right? I ask softly. He flinches. I was caught off guard. I didn't mean it. You've been saying it since we were kids. He drops his eyes, jaw tight. That's not fair. What's not fair, I cut in, is a father with dementia and a mother post-stroke, and me flying down to fight with insurers while you posted selfies. What's not fair is every dollar funneled to you while I scraped by. And then I got best wishes. The words hang heavy between us. His hands tremble as he pulls at his hoodie strings. So this is revenge? You'll let me freeze out here? You're not my brother, I say evenly. You made that clear. He stares, and for the first time, I see fear in him. But beneath it, something else. A calculation. He doesn't ask about the house or the brownstone nameplate. He doesn't know, not yet. And in that blindness, I feel power shift. The question is whether I use it to close the door or to open another reckoning. I let the gate creak open another inch, enough for Tyler to see the manicured garden behind me, the brass plaque glinting Lennox. He blinks, trying to reconcile the name with the brother he thought had nothing. Whose place is this? He finally asks. My biological parents, I say. The words taste foreign, heavy. They died in a plane crash. Left everything to me. His face shifts, confusion first, then envy sliding in like a shadow. So, they were rich? I'm saying, I answer, that for once in my life, I was chosen. Not tolerated, not managed. Wanted, he goes pale, mouth opening and closing. For once, there's no quip. No smug edge. Just silence? I watch him, remembering years of his one-liners at the dinner table, the smirk when our parents laughed instead of stopping him. Remember the scholarship forms I filled alone while they wrote checks for his pitching coach. Remember standing in Wilcox's office as the lawyer gave me best wishes like it was a consolation prize. Now Tyler is the one waiting for scraps. I screwed up, he blurts. I was jealous, okay? You always seemed like you didn't need anyone. If I pushed you out, maybe I'd feel like the favorite. You were the favorite, I say flatly. And it didn't save you. He looks away, shoulders slumping. For a flicker, I almost believe the apology. But then I remember the years. Decades. And I keep my arms crossed. Part of me wants to slam the gate. Another part wants to hand him proof. Let him see in black and white that the balance has shifted. That his throne of inheritance crumbled, and the brother he mocked now stands inside walls he can't breach. I turn, step back into the hall lined with Ava's sketches, and pull open a drawer. The original will copy rests there, sealed in an envelope. My hand hovers. Closure, I think. Not pity. Closure. I return to the gate with the envelope in hand, the paper weighty as stone. Tyler's eyes dart to it, suspicion and desperation wrestling across his face. What's that? He asks, voice thin. Proof, I say, sliding it through the iron bars. His fingers tremble as he unfolds the document, scanning line after line. When he reaches the bottom, color drains from his face. This isn't real. It's very real, I reply. His grip tightens, crinkling the paper. Then his head snaps up, fury flooding back in to replace fear. So what now? You sit on your throne and watch me drown? I hold his gaze. I watched you swim while I sank most of my life. You'll manage. For a moment, he looks like a boy again, the teenager who once told me I was lucky they even kept me. But the years have carved that boy into a man who doesn't know how to survive without someone else's oxygen. He takes a step closer, jaw clenched. I'm your brother. No, I say softly, steady. You chose otherwise a long time ago. The words land heavier than I expect. He staggers back, lips curling, but he doesn't fight. Just silence. And then he turns, walking down the sidewalk with the envelope pressed to his chest, pages fluttering in the wind. I watch until he disappears into the night. My chest should feel lighter. It doesn't. It feels like a gavel just came down, final and cold. Inside, the brownstone feels too quiet. I close the door, lean against the wood, and let my breath steady. Then my phone buzzes. Unknown number. Area code, New Mexico. I hesitate, thumb hovering. Finally, I answer. Is this Mason Vale? A woman's voice asks, calm, deliberate. My throat tightens. Yes, who is this? This is Elena Torres. I was your biological mother's attorney. There's something she left you, something not in the estate papers. And someone you need to meet. The line crackles faintly, but Elena's voice is steady. Your mother, Ava Lennox, instructed me to contact you only if your adoptive family came back after the inheritance. She expected it. I pressed the caliper in my palm, grounding myself. Expected it? You're saying she knew they'd crawl back? She had an instinct for people, Elena answers. She believed the moment they saw you weren't a wallet with a pulse, they'd try to reclaim you. A laugh escapes me, sharp, hollow. She was right. There's more, Elena continues. Ava left a separate lockbox with me in Santa Fe, personal. Not for the estate lawyers. She wanted you to receive it in person. And she asked that I introduce you to someone, my pulse hammers. Who? Another pause. Her name is Marisol. She's your sister. Kmase. The room tilts. No, I was told I was their only child. Legally, yes, Elena says gently. But before George, Ava had a daughter. A closed adoption. She found her years later, but Marisol wanted no disruption. Until now. After Ava's death, she reached out. She wants to meet. I pace the hardwood floor, heart slamming in my chest. A sister. A whole other branch of life hidden in shadow while I grew up convinced I was alone. Why now? I ask, barely above a whisper. Because time ran out, Elena replies. Ava wrote you a letter explaining everything. It's in the box. I stopped by the tall bay window, the city lights blurring through the glass. My chest feels split between dread and a fragile spark of hope. Finally, I say, text me your address. I'll be on a flight by morning. When I hang up, the caliper feels heavier than ever, as if it knows I'm about to measure a truth I never asked for. Santa Fe greets me with dry air and red stone rising against the horizon. Elena's office sits on the edge of town, a low adobe building with green shutters and a bell that jingles softly when I step inside. She meets me in the lobby, silver hair tied back, eyes sharp but kind. She's here, Elena says without preamble. Then she places a thick envelope in my hand, yellowed edges sealed with dark wax. My name sprawls across the front in Ava's handwriting. Careful, maternal, almost intimate. My hands shake as I break the seal. 7 pages, all handwritten. Ava tells me about her youth, about giving up Marisol at 19 because she had no choice, about the shame and the years she spent searching. She writes of me, how finding me later was a miracle she didn't deserve. We watched you from a distance, she writes. Every birthday, every milestone. We were proud. Tears blur the ink until I have to pause. The caliper is warm in my palm, steadying me. Her last line sears through me. Meet your sister. Not because I ask it, but because you both deserve to know you were never alone. I fold the letter carefully and nod at Elena. I'm ready. She leads me to a private conference room. The door opens, and there she is, Marisol. 6 years older, dark hair pinned back, eyes tired but unmistakably warm. We stare at each other, silent, the weight of decades pressing down. Finally, she offers a sad smile. So, you're Mason? I nod. And you're Marisol? Her phone buzzes on the table. She flips it face down without answering. Sorry, it's been a week? I almost didn't come, but I had to meet you. I sit opposite her, studying every detail. Did you know about me? Not until last year, she admits. Ava wrote, said she had another child. I wasn't ready to respond. Then she died, and suddenly time wasn't something I could waste. The silence between us is full but not empty. Then she leans forward, eyes darkening. There's something else you need to know. Before we talk about us from her purse, she pulls a faded photograph and slides it across the table. I glance down and my breath catches. Because in the corner, half-turned unmistakable even in grainy resolution, stands Harold Vale. The man who raised me. The man who left me nothing. My chest locks as I stare at the photograph. An Albuquerque dinner party, 1994, long before I could remember. Ava sits laughing, Marisol still a child, and there, in the blurred background, arms crossed and gaze averted, is Harold Vale. I whisper, "That's him." Marisol watches me carefully. "So you see it too?" My fingers tighten around the photo. "Why was he there?" She exhales, folding her hands. Ava didn't even know until years later. Someone else snapped the picture. She nearly threw it away, thought her eyes were playing tricks. But she dug deeper. Harold once worked for a pharmaceutical firm in New Mexico. Ava consulted for them before launching her own company. Their paths crossed more than once. The air feels thinner. Are you telling me the adoption wasn't random? Marisol nods slowly. Ava believed Harold orchestrated it, that he took you not out of love but out of spite. Control. Maybe even revenge. The words crack something inside me. All the years of distance, of being reminded I wasn't really theirs, rearrange themselves into a darker pattern. I press the caliper into my palm until the metal leaves an imprint. Why wouldn't they tell me? My voice cracks. Marisol's gaze softens. Ava asked the same question. But you told me? Didn't they always treat you like you didn't belong? Every day, I mutter. Then maybe that's why. It was never about family for Harold. It was about leverage. I feel like the floor's tilting, like my whole life's being rewritten, page by page. Yet through the noise, one truth stands clear. I was never an accident. I was a pawn. Marisol reaches across the table, her hand light on mine. I didn't come here to hurt you. I came because Ava wanted no secrets left behind. She carried that guilt for years. For the first time, I don't pull away. Thank you, I whisper. We talk for hours, her children, my foundation, the letters Ava left both of us. And for once, I don't feel the need to explain myself. She just understands. But when the room grows quiet, she asks the question I've been avoiding. What are you going to do about Tyler? The photo lies between us, Harold's blurred face smirking like a ghost. My answer tastes like iron. I don't know yet. But it won't be mercy. When I get back to Brooklyn, the steps of the townhouse are already occupied. Tyler, hunched in a gray hoodie, duffel at his feet like a white flag. The sky smells like rain and hot metal. I unlock the gate and let it latch behind me. I'm not here to stay, he blurts. Just talk. I nod once and keep us outside. The caliper presses into my palm, cool and exact. Then listen. I tell him about the Heart Foundation, the one I file this week with Ava and George's names at the masthead. We'll fund kids who were displaced the way I was. Housing stipends, legal aid, mentorships. I watch his expression teeter between hope and the old entitlement. You can work there, entry level. He blinks. A job? Not a favor, I say. A job. You'll report to operations, not to me. Offer letter HF0425, start date next Monday, probation 90 days under clause section 3.1, base salary barely above market minimum. You'll do intake, logistics, data entry. If you miss twice without documentation, automatic termination. If you breach code of conduct, same. There are no advances, no side loans, no couch. He swallows. And if I can't? Cut it? Then we're done, I answer. For good. His shoulders sag. The wind flips his hood. For a heartbeat, I see the boy who got the bigger room and the louder birthdays. For another heartbeat, I see the man who let me shoulder hospitals while he curated captions. I don't move. There's more, I add. Each week you log 5 service hours off the clock. Pantry deliveries, court accompaniment, anything operations assigns, you will look people in the eye who don't have what you squandered. He nods, almost imperceptible. Okay? You'll email HR before midnight, I say, checking my watch. Confirm you understand the terms. If the email isn't time-stamped by 23:59, the offer rescinds. No extensions. A muscle jumps in his cheek. You really don't trust me. I trust paper, I say. And schedules. He dips his head. I'll be there. I believe him just enough to step aside so he can leave. He does, slow and quiet, like a man walking around the outline of his old life. Inside, I draft a note to operations. Assign Tyler to Rojas, the supervisor least likely to tolerate shortcuts. I attach the packet. Onboarding checklist, NDA, code of conduct, and a single sticky on top in my handwriting. No special handling. At 23:47, the HR inbox pings. Subject, acceptance, HF0425. The message is short, almost spare. I understand the terms. I'll show up. I let the caliper rest on the desk and sit back, the metal drawing a thin half-moon mark in my skin. This isn't forgiveness, it's a set of guardrails. If he wants a road, he can build it between them. If not, gravity will do what it always does. Either way, I won't be the net. 8 months slide by, and the Heart Foundation hums with a rhythm I never imagined. Late night strategy sessions, intake calls stacked like dominoes, grant packets stamped approved. Tyler shows up, quiet at first, eyes low when people recognize my name on the door. He files intake reports, answers helpline calls, fumbles through spreadsheets under Rojas's watch. Twice he stumbles. Once a missed shift, once a heated word with a client, but he recovers before the hammer falls. One evening I catch him outside, leaning against the loading dock after a pantry run. His hoodie is sweat damp, his hands blistered from hauling crates. "Didn't think I'd last this long," he mutters, half to himself. "You didn't," I reply evenly. "The work did." He doesn't argue, maybe he's learning. Meanwhile, Marisol and I weave a rhythm of our own. Weekly calls, 2 visits to Santa Fe, her kids shrieking, "Uncle Mason," when I walk through the door. It feels fragile but real, like a bridge laid plank by plank over water I thought would never hold me. Sometimes late at night, I read Ava's letters again. One line repeats like a metronome. "You were never a mistake. You were our second chance." For years, I chased a family that never wanted me, carrying their indifference like ballast. Now, in a townhouse filled with her sketches and a foundation stamped with her name, I see the truth. Family isn't inheritance or DNA, it's the people who choose you and the people you choose back. Tyler clocks out one Friday and lingers in the doorway. He doesn't ask for money, he doesn't demand recognition. He just nods and says, "See you Monday." It's small, almost nothing. But for the first time, it sounds like respect. I slip the caliper back onto my keychain, the metal catching the hallway light. For once, it doesn't feel like armor, it feels like balance, like I can measure life on my own terms. This is peace. Not the kind handed down in a will, not the kind you beg for at a locked gate. The kind you build, one boundary, one letter, one choice at a time.